My brain's splitting off in so many different directions. My brain's splitting off in so many different. My brain's splitting off in so many different directions that no one has the answers to. My dad was a shrink. Certain things upset me. And my dad was a shrink. Certain things upset me. And my dad was a shrink. Things upset me. What's the furthest star, and then what's beyond the furthest star? What's the furthest star, and then what's beyond the furthest star? What's the furthest star, and then what's beyond the furthest star? Questions that no one has the answers to.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where we actually talk about dead girls. I had my issues mixed up, Gary. This is the dead girl issue.
Yep.
God damn it. Didn't talk about any dead girls in the last issue. That was my whole intro. Fucked up.
Nope. This is the introduction of one of the Major X Force X Dax characters. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. The hurricanes have not technically stopped. Like there's one in the Gulf right now.
It's fucking November.
But I don't know if you saw any of the path, by the way, on this latest one on Ida or Edda. I don't know how you say it, but it literally it was headed northwest and then zagged northeast and then zagged northwest going back towards Louisiana, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And finally it's come back northeast, so it's hitting mostly Florida, but technically the quote unquote cone of uncertainty, which is the area that a hurricane might hit because they can't predict 100%, it technically hit Louisiana, so that's been 8 storms that we've been the target of in 2020. Fucking insane.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but for the most part everything has been fine, hunky-dory. We're about to start building a barn, I think, which is going to be super interesting. So
yeah, because you're going to become a horseman.
No, I'm not. I'm not a single bit. This is going to be all autumn, man. I've already told her, this is picking up the shit, feeding the horses, watering the horses. This is all your game. I will be on the Xbox. You don't ask me. I don't ask you to get my Xbox achievements, and you don't need to ask me to pick up the horse shit, and then we will have a nice relationship.
Horse achievements. Yeah, you're going to become a horse husband.
I will be, I'll be an Instagram boyfriend. I'll be a horse husband. I can be a lot of things, but I will not be a horseman.
Horse wife guy?
Horse wife guy? Love it, dude. Absolutely love it. 100% into it.
Yeah.
I posted yesterday asking if being 40, because I turned 40 day after tomorrow, if being 40 was too old to become a synth guy. And according to all of Twitter, it's very recommended that I become a synth guy in my 40s. So
it's actually a really good age for it because that shit's expensive.
Yeah, dude. This dude, not to blast anybody on Twitter, but this guy and they follow me but I didn't happen to recognize their name or icon or whatever. And they were like, yeah, this is the best one that I've seen lately, and it looks really cool. So of course I clicked on it, and it's just a slab of electronic with 40,000 knobs on it. And so I was like, what makes this interesting? So I'm clicking through, and I'm like, okay, price availability. 1,500 euros. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's really expensive to get into the kind of knobs and patch cable style synthesizers.
Well, your 1,500 euros do come with 30 cables. I did notice that. So.
Now that you're a horsewife guy, I go to the Oregon Humane Society website.
Okay,
I'll have to browse, new pets because I've been thinking about getting a dog or a second cat. And the 4 categories are dogs, cats, small pets, and then horses is the 4th category. So in Oregon, at the very least, you can just straight up go to the Humane Society and just grab yourself a horse.
Oh yeah, dude. Absolutely.
If you want.
There's Louisiana is kind of known. There's one particular parish in Louisiana is known for having people that seriously mistreat horses. They regularly have to go and rescue.
Known to whom? Known to other horses, or
No, I don't think the horses really have any kind of understanding about what's going on. Unfortunately, I feel like we've trained the warning system for that out of them. But no, kind of known around to horse people of oh yeah, these people all treat their horses terribly, and it's mostly just because it's in the news or whatever, which they had to go and rescue 45 horses. So yeah, there's a bunch of we have Willie Nelson used to do a big thing of trying to rescue horses. That was his big thing, so they wouldn't get ground up into meat and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's super. You can just go adopt a horse if you want to. It's what you do.
Shit's wild.
Shit is crazy, man. Go adopt a horse, Gary.
Yeah, I should probably become a horse guy. It's not too late for me.
40 is a great place to start because it's so expensive.
It's so expensive. I just start, and just trying to feed my horse leftover Halloween candy and shit, and trying to feed it and keep it alive, just failing miserably.
Autumn has been making
Is it
these
like-
really incredible cookies that are in the shape of a horse head. And
Mhm.
she does it because she'll go to these trade shows or whatever, and she likes to bring little sweets, and she gives them out, and
Mhm.
but she decorates them so that the horse heads all look like her friends' horses. So it's
Okay.
extremely cute. So people are like, "Oh, you got to do some for me next time," and all that other stuff. But she was super excited because she went to see Beasley, who she hadn't seen for a while because Beasley lives a little far away from us nowadays.
Beasley is a horse for listeners.
Beasley's a horse, yes. And Beasley was 100% not interested in the cookies, and Autumn managed her to take one bite, and she's got it on video of literally the horse turning away and spitting and coughing the cookie out, and she's like, "Well, you know what? Fuck you! I spent a lot of time on that cookie." It's very funny to me.
I love this cover of this issue.
Yes.
It's incredibly retro, bringing back dialogue on covers.
I'm
way
we
into
saw
it.
this earlier too with the Wolverine cover, and I'm just 100%
Yeah.
into it.
This one, there's a big skeletal hand pointing at the anarchist, Hugo Girl, and Mr. Sensitive, and Dupe. And then they're just doing exposition. It's the Spectre of Death, and it's pointing at one of us, but who?
Very nice. And we start this at a kind of after a mission that seems to have gone badly. The press has surrounded all of our team, which at this point is just the main five, right? So we've got Anarchist,
Mhm.
we've got Guy, we've got Edie.
Well, and the Spike. So the 6.
And the Spike. Yeah, I forgot about the Spike. Also,
Never forget about the Spike.
Miles, who is the Eviscerator? I can't remember his
The
code.
Vivisector.
Vivisector. Yeah, that's it. And Fat.
Mhm.
And the news people are like, how many civilian deaths do you think that there are? And they're kind of pushing back against this and saying hey, look, we were trying our best, and not all the bad guys were wearing name badges that said bad guys, right? So some people got hurt. But
Yeah.
something bad happened on this mission.
Yeah, and this whole issue is interior text from Mr. Sensitive.
Mhm.
And it's kind of about his existential crisis about the team. I'm not sure what X-Force stands for, but I don't think it's this. And the mission was going bad, and it's him kind of recounting the dysfunction in the team. It's supposed to be an easy mission. That's something that happens a lot. All the missions are supposed to be easy missions.
Yes.
The Spike and the Anarchist are engaging in this rivalry where they're not really paying attention to the rest of the team. They're just trying to outshine each other. Fat and Vivisector are a team within a team. They're basically ignored. They're isolated here. And he, now that he started a relationship with Edie, can't help trying to pull her out of the line of fire. And she has no interest in it.
You have air sex one time with the girl, and then all of a sudden you catch feelings.
They had to wait around for the networks to come film it. And while they do, there's a huge protest about them, that they shouldn't be there. So it's just all kinds of bad feelings. And then this ends. I love this line where he's like, and for the record, the civilian death count was between 6 and 18, depending on your politics. It's really,
what a
really
great
good
line.
Yeah. Really, really good. And we go to the meeting with Spike Freeman, and he introduces this name change. As we mentioned, this book turns into Ecstatics.
Mhm.
He says they don't own the name X-Force. They have to pay a royalty to X-Force, which I love. The idea of Cable getting a check for
Absolutely, man.
$416 a month.
Yeah, dude.
With his bionic arm and endorsing it with a laser beam or something.
Cable going through the drive-through and them telling him sir, you have to be in a vehicle to be in the drive-through, and him getting really mad about it.
I am a vehicle, soldier.
I am 90% vehicle. I am from the future, goddammit. You can't tell me what to do.
Just endorsing these baby checks for name rights.
Fucking hilarious to me. Yeah. And then of course there's the conversation about the new recruit, which leads us to the title of this issue, which is One of Us, and 3 of our teams going to a graveyard to go recruit Dead Girl. And also around this, going through the process of trying to come up with names. If you've ever tried to name anything, you've probably been through this. It's really difficult to name stuff. I have a really, really hard time with it. So
yeah. And they have to have the X.
Yes.
They talk about it as a marketing thing, which is meta, obviously, because this is kind of an X book.
Yep.
They're in the graveyard looking in this mausoleum for Dead Girl to give her the good news, and this gigantic creature pops up behind them. They don't know what it is, but the anarchist is immediately that's death. I love the anarchist's characterization. Like, he is paranoid and superstitious.
Yes.
And that's been, that's going to be true throughout the entire thing. And this gigantic like corpse golem, this like fucking Gravelord Nito.
I'm so glad you went there, because I'm like, dude, Graveyard Nito without clothes, right? Like, the Gravelord serpent is.
Computer, show me nude Nito.
Show me nude Nito. Siri,
is there a way to generate a nude Nito? Does not compute. Nude Nito.
Did you this is obviously off topic, but I didn't know that there was a roguelike mod for Dark Souls 1 on PC now. Have you seen this?
I did know about that. That's something that we've been kicking around covering for Bonfireside Chat.
So
and I haven't started it because video games haven't been bringing me joy.
Sure, yeah, me either. I haven't turned on a video game console, which makes like trying to track down a $500 console this week like kind of weird for me.
It just doesn't. Yeah, it's kind of lose proposition. Like, it doesn't feel good. Like, at some point I'll do it. I know, but like, not right this second. Everybody, I need a mental health month or two.
Yeah, the idea of I don't know, and I'm probably like, tomorrow is the day to try to get them right, and it's also my birthday, so Autumn is like, you need to get one, and that could be your birthday present. And I'm like, yeah, but I just literally haven't opened a video game in like 2 weeks. So what do I do?
Do I want to go stand in line at a GameStop for my birthday?
No.
When I can get one a month later and probably be fine.
Yeah. But yeah, this is Nude Nito, and Nude Nito kind of points at all of them, and it creates, like, immediately Anarchist is like, he's saying that I'm going to die. He's pointing at me, and then like everybody is arguing, and like, no, he's pointing at me. I'm going to die. Like, it's kind of a weird competition. Yeah. Oh, well, maybe we're all going to die. Like, they don't really know what's happening in this.
I love that the Anarchist, this characterization of him being so paranoid about dying makes sense as like one of two survivors of the very first like Boys R Us massacre. Like, he has been close to death a bunch here. We cut to them in the shower. I love, anytime they show Mr. Sensitive's like special equipment, I really like it, like his weird misting station.
I like when special equipment just sounds so dirty.
Yeah, it's super dirty, man. And he canonically has a gigantic hog.
Excellent. Good.
Because the one time they saw it. So, but he's reiterating this, like, what I was saying, like, when the Spike joins, it's not like they're gonna want multiple black people. Like, I'm gonna die. Yeah. If he joins, I'm the older guy who's gonna get killed.
We go from here to a meeting with Spike, the owner of X-Force, who is bringing in a CIA agent, who immediately comes in with a lot of attitude, saying, let's get this straight. I hate you and everything you stand for. You are the putrid underbelly of American society, and nothing would please me more than to see you eradicated from God's good earth. I hope we can work together. Yeah. Like, I really like this, like, the kind of smarmy, slimy CIA agent.
Big unibrow on this guy.
Yeah, huge unibrow energy.
And this is for their next mission. It's like, you're going to go up against aliens. They're not really aliens, and you have to lose. And he explains it, like, what this is he's going to save them because a few issues ago, when Mr. Sensitive gave up Paco Perez, and did not allow him to be dissected, he made a lot of enemies here. Guy snaps and backhands him. The CIA agent continues to talk shit, and Edie like teleports him away. But before that happens, there's like a little note where Vivisector and Fat are just kind of like being the class clowns in the back of the room, joking about the shit. And he says, like, what about the Vivisector says, what about the exfoliates? And Fat says, bro, isn't that a little too gay? And he says, Fat, can anything be too gay? And they start, like, they grab hands.
Nice.
And the Spike does not like this.
The Spike.
Because he's a homophobe.
It's like a fucking Telltale thing, dude. Like, the Spike will remember this.
Spike will remember this.
And Edie, meanwhile, has teleported herself and the CIA agent like above this huge chasm somewhere, and is basically being like, "Hey, like you need to drop all of this bullshit. Like, Guy is if you try to harm Guy with this, like, I will come after you. Like, I am not afraid to fuck you up, basically."
Yeah, I am capable of such terrible acts of violence that it scares me. And he says, like, if you care about Guy, you should be thanking me. She teleports him back, and they kind of learn what it is. So those, as I mentioned, the multinational medical companies were upset about that, and Guy made the choice without consulting the team to save Paco Perez. And if they don't do this mission, so basically the CIA owes them a favor, owes the medical companies a favor. So this is to get the medical companies off of X-Force, because if they don't do this, they're going to release a bunch of commercials with terminally sick kids saying that these kids would have had a chance if it wasn't for this man. and then just show pictures of Guy Smith, which is shitty.
It's super shitty, and I kind of wish we would do that with actual pharmaceutical companies. To be honest with you, like,
dude, yeah, like this is the guy. This is the reason why insulin costs so much.
Yeah, this is that
Bam.
dude that had that Wu-Tang album, right? I can't remember what his name
This
was.
is Martin Shkreli.
There you go. Yeah.
So this is, obviously a big existential day for Guy Smith. He's thinking back to that mission, like, they're in this like area, this like war-torn area for war crimes. He could have rescued this girl and he didn't.
Yeah.
He's like, maybe I deserve to die. Maybe that's why the Grim Reaper was pointed at me. So they explain the mission. Like they come back to you're meeting another day in the theater, and he explains what they're going to have to do.
Yeah. So the CIA basically covered up an illegal experiment on a bunch of death row inmates. Basically, they were turning them into mutants that they could control, mutant soldiers. Like, it's kind of a pretty stock plot line in a lot of the stuff, like the government trying to create these superpowered. Only, of course, it's now backfired, and they had to cover everything up with a fire. In the meantime, these I can't remember what they call them. It's like the burger or something.
The Bushrangers?
The Bushrangers. I don't know where I got burgers from.
Yeah. It's not the Burger Boys.
Burger Boys.
They said that because Hugo Girl says, like, why did you gather a bunch of, psychopath, like murderers and stuff, people on death row to do this? Whose idea was that? And he goes, I'll give you a clue. The creatures were known as the Bushrangers.
Yeah.
This is some GW.
Some easy GW shit.
Commentary.
Yeah.
There's also a little foreshadowing here where the Spike is like, most of them are black people. Like, you just chose black people to experiment on. And Vivisector's like, is death row. Like, what did you expect? He's like, yeah, we just took what was there. We weren't doing this specifically to be racist. This will end up playing into later stuff. So they made them, but it fucked up their heads. Like, they did not make them obedient. So they're still psychopaths, killers, and rapists and stuff. They just have incredibly intense mutant powers.
And almost immediately after this is presented, of like, we've got to go to space, you've got to lose this battle, everybody kind of revolts. Like, Anarchist is immediately like, I didn't sign up for this shit. I didn't, like, Guy made that call. I didn't have anything to do with it. Why I didn't endanger anybody from, any kids from being cured from a disease. Like, this is all Guy. And of course, Fat chimes in too. Is like, Guy made the call. He can take the fall. And Guy eventually just says, okay, like, you're all fair. Like, let's be quiet. We all have to vote on this. Like, let's make this a team effort. And surprisingly, like, it goes pretty much down the party lines as you might expect, but surprisingly, the Spike votes to stay with Guy and to actually go on the mission, which is kind of, unusual.
Just to be on the other side from the Anarchist. And the Anarchist says, like, you might feel different if death had pointed at you. And he's like, what is this bullshit? Like, this old man is superstitious. Like, I'm brave. Like, he's posturing. Yeah. So it looks like it's 3 for 3 as a stalemate, but then Dead Girl shows up and joins Guy.
Yep.
There. So 4 to 3. There's a really good, like, where the CIA agent goes, democracy wins again. And he says, the agency would be more comfortable if Edie was the leader. She pushes back on this, and he originally thinks that is her being loyal, but really she's like, I'm not going to be the leader right before we do a mission where we have to lose it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm not stupid.
I'm not going to use all of my Phoenix down on the mission that I have to lose against this boss, man. Like, come on, what are you doing?
Yeah, like, yeah, we can do better than that. I'm not an idiot. I still want to be leader, but I'm not going to take this fall for you.
Yeah.
And it ends with his monologue, like, oh, so this is what X-Force is about, like, saving the world from aliens who aren't aliens, knowing we're going to lose, and wondering which one of us is going to die. And
they are, like, dressed up in, spacesuits and, like, getting onto a spaceship to go fucking, like, take care of this. And it feels very, like throughout this, he's been obviously saying, like, what does X-Force stand for? And, like, this feels like some superhero shit that you would think, oh, this is what a superhero team stands for, is, like, going into space, rescuing a bunch of hostages.
Yep. But in fact, there's obviously, like, a twist to it. There's a lot more to the story.
Oh, yes.
There. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which we'll get into in the next episode.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you like the episode and you want to support the podcast, patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv is the place to do it. Also, ratings and reviews help us out a lot, and tell your friends. Like, if you've got anybody that's even casually interested in X-Men or whatever, send them our way. Like, maybe they won't like us, but at least they'll try us, right? Like, that's all that matters, is that they try.
They might like us.
They might.
We're nice.
I haven't listened to that pilot episode we did, what feels like 18,000 years ago. Like, I wonder what the energy in that is like. I feel like it's basically the same energy, though. Like, I don't feel like we've changed dramatically over the years.
We can, maybe I'll check that out. Maybe we'll record a commentary for the like 4-year anniversary or whatever.
I know you've been doing some commentary episodes with Will on Everything to Guppy, which is also available on the Patreon, by the way. Chris and I have been doing that for Supernatural too, and we were talking about the other day of like actually, because neither one of us has sat down and like listened to that after the fact, and like just the idea of sitting down with your significant other and being like, okay, wait, hold on, I'm about to tell a really good joke. Hold on. Just the idea of listening to your own commentary on something is just horrifying to me. So
listening to like having a significant other listen to your own podcast like is already a thing. That's hard. Like where like sometimes it's nice, and then you'll walk in and be like, oh, that's me. That's not okay.
Yeah.
That I was I visited my friend in New York, and he had a mix CD, and he had put on a song from one of my old bands on it, and I like wanted to die. Like it was very flattering, but it was really, really hard. And I was like, we have to skip this. Like,
we can't do this.
This is way too weird. Like, who do you think I am? Like, I'm not like Prince or Kanye or something. I can't just sit here and listen to my own music.
God, that's my favorite Aziz story of all time. Where he tells that anecdote about just going to Kanye's house, and Kanye's just like, I love this shit, and just bopping his own CD. When I picked you up from the airport, when you came down to visit, I had been listening to Bonfireside Chat up until I'd like pulled into the pickup line. It was like, okay, I have to turn this off because it'll be weird otherwise. So
I appreciate it's good of you, dude. It's not even like a hearing my own voice thing. It's more just like I don't want to think about it.
No, absolutely not. And it's just intensely uncomfortable if you're in the same like vehicle and like somebody is listening to you talk and you're not actually talking. Like it's just intensely uncomfortable completely. Like it's even though like I will listen to my own podcast to check like audio quality and to like remember something that we talked about so that on the next thing that we talk about it, like I'll have a fresh memory of it or something. But no, not ever in the car with somebody, or God forbid and just in a house.
Yeah, like in a jail.
Yeah,
like a solitary, an ironic hell.
So if you need more ironic hell podcast listening, go to daysoffuturecast.com, and we'll be back in a couple of days with more X-Force.